Good morning, bedheads. Click. How's it going today? I really needed to get my shit shield activated today. Clink. I think I'll do click and clink. We do sell the shit shield. I designed this, but the idea came from a member of our community, so that's really amazing. So that is in our shop right now, but if you need the shit shield activated, it's always a good thing to have on your cupboard. And I want to talk about how I think we're in this for the long haul and what that means. Because I've been sitting here I've just been sitting here like this, like contemplating. I've just been sitting here with my, just looking down, almost like meditating, but not. But two things before we get started. I got a message from the SGs. We got a Oracle deck, a new Oracle deck that they're going to have me pull from today. And I think what I'm going to talk about is going to give some big picture, helpful, whatever. Perspective. That's the word I was looking for. Perspective. So, how's your bedhead doing today? Mine's doing pretty good. Two things real quick. Don't forget to sign up for our new newsletter. The QR code's right there. Okay. Free, totally free. And it's going to be a really fun way for me to communicate to you a whole bunch of different things, way more than I'll even talk about on the channel. So I'm super excited about it. Just the more creative I get, and I won't bombard you. I mean, you'll probably get an email once a week. I probably would want to email you more, but it'll probably be annoying, so I won't. So once a week, I'm sure if that will be fine. I will make them helpful, so then it will be useful for you. Okay. So don't forget to sign up for the newsletter. And then just those who are interested in getting unbiased news, just remember that we have an affiliate link for Ground News. It's in the description below. And you get 40% off of the subscription by using our affiliate link. So that's why we signed up for it, to be honest. One, because we're using it ourselves and it's amazing. Because you can really, if you hear a story, you can go on there and check to see, is it just right-leaning story? Is it a left-leaning story? Is it center? What's the factuality on it? You can read the article that has the highest factuality. It's amazing. So I really want to remind people that resource is there because I think we're going to need it based on what I'm going to talk about right now. Okay. So, I'm going to say this, like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think it's bad news. Like what I'm going to say, I don't think it's actually bad news. It's going to take some adjustment, I think. But I do think our shit shields are going to need to be activated I think we're in this for the long haul. I really do. And I don't mean necessarily F45. I don't mean that. I think we are in for the long haul of finding out a lot of stuff that's been going on over the last 100 years or whatever, 200 years, and deconstructing and reconstructing. Okay. So this is my gut and intuition telling me this based on a few things I watched this morning when I got up. Okay. And this moral of the story, so I'm not going to leave you hanging. The moral of the story is we have to work on ourselves. That's the moral of the story. So, and I know you're like, oh, I got to work on myself. Click. How many of you just left? If that's all she's going to tell me to do is work on myself, then I'm out of here. But, and I don't know. I don't really have a really clear thought process on how to discuss this, but I sort of do. But I'm going to say that if anybody in this community, which is many of us, have any kind of self-help experience, um, anything that can help others spiritually grow. Any of us who have perspective to be shared that would be helpful, then I would highly encourage you to be looking at how you can offer that to, if you're not already, okay? Um, and that could be, I keep coming back to like Lee, her mugs that she makes. And I'm going to talk about this. I have this out for a reason because I want to talk about Temu versus like something like this, handmade, okay? But so Lee, you make these beautiful mugs, right? I have 4 of them now. Lee sent me one for free, and I love, just as a nice little gift, just to thank me for the channel. That was so sweet. And I went on her Etsy shop, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need the other ones. So I bought 3 of them. So I have a collection of 4, all different ones. And Lee is, I believe, on our business directory, you guys. So soon, that's coming out very soon, like next week. So you'll be able to check out her shop and get these beautiful mugs as well. So, which is going to be amazing because we probably have like 30 people on the directory. So if you're not on the directory and you want to, early bird pricing is going to be ending at the end of April. But it's going to be I'm very excited for the small number of businesses in our community that we get to highlight now. So I'm excited for you guys because I would have given anything for that. That kind of numbers that we have people watching and the few numbers on the directory, at least for now. So I'm super excited about that. Like I said, I would have given anything for that with my other business, you know. But it's because we want to, anyways, I want to support the small businesses here. But, so Lee, I was going to say, like, yours might be teaching people how to be creative and do something with making mugs. So that might be your next iteration, right? Because the creation of these is probably, my guess, a very spiritual process for you. And in fact, when Lee first sent me the mugs, she said, I'm sending this to you because I sit at my wheel while I'm listening to you and create these. And it's probably, I can imagine, Lee, that you process a lot of feelings while you're making these, which is why it's so amazing to think like, what was Lee processing while she made this particular mug, you know? So the reason I wanted to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about it now so I don't forget, okay? Because I will forget, and then I'm going to come back to we're in this for the long haul. I won't forget that. Because it's been sitting in my brain a little bit, and I haven't done any research or anything like that, so I'm going to, and all comments are welcome as long as they're kind. So the other day I was talking about Temu, right? And that I had bought some pendulums on Temu and some crystals and stuff like that. And so people have opinions about Temu for sure. I had asked my sister to do some research into Temu before we even signed up as an affiliate, have the link below, because you can get stuff very inexpensive. Okay. All right. So this story is partly part of we're in this for the long haul. All right. So the one thing there obviously people have raised a few issues when I talked about Temu the other day. So one, that there's a copy, like people are taking taking people's designs, their products, and they're selling them on there for less, and that's copyright issue. Absolutely. It happens on Etsy too, though. So if you support Etsy, it's happening on Etsy too, and they're not monitoring it the way they should either. So FYI. So it's just interesting that people have that opinion about Temu, but they don't have the opinion about Etsy, right? And maybe you do, but the other one was, somebody had said, why are you supporting a communist country? Come on, they said. If you're a regular listener, that was a little sassy. And I said, "Oh, are you telling me that you don't own anything from China? Like nothing? Excuse me. Every single thing in my house is from China. If you don't think this stuff is from China, you unless you've just completely bought from the Amish, maybe you did. Good for you. But that is not, there's a, oh, I'm like, does anyone else hear that beeping? Yeah, it must have been a truck outside. Anyways, so again, this comes back to my we're in this for the long haul. Okay. Um, so obviously stuff is okay. It's obviously stuff the comment about why are you supporting a communist country is like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but let's, I mean, think beyond that. I mean, you need to think a little bit deeper than that, I think, than just shaming somebody for buying something on Temu. Okay. And I'm not saying I'm not one to um not shop at certain places if they are against my values. Okay. But again, this is all going to come back to we're in this for the long haul. Um, so Temu, right? Stuff really inexpensive. Are you guys seeing those videos now on TikTok? I don't have a TikTok account, so I haven't been seeing them, but I've been seeing people talk about it on YouTube that the Chinese are now coming out saying, hey, you can buy this stuff directly from us and it'll cost, the Louis Vuitton bags allegedly for entertainment purposes only, because I don't really know if Louis Vuitton specifically, okay, which, because again, I haven't done enough research on this, but so, the high, let's just say luxury items that they're selling for $2,000 are being made for 40, and they're not being made. So those aren't Europeans making that. So that's not Lee is not made. So Lee made this, but those who are selling luxury brands, mostly in Europe, is my understanding from watching this video this morning. Again, I would rather go on ground news and, do some research on there. I'm just throwing out these ideas to make my point. Okay. So I know there's a lot of different perspectives to be thrown in here. Okay. So, but they're not making the bags. They're not making them. China's making them and they're putting the labels on them. So all they're doing is branding. So this gentleman I was listening to, I will post his video below. Okay. He basically is like, it's a huge scam. All it is it's all fraud and it's a huge scam. All it is branding. It's just branding. But it's a huge scam that they are making the bag for $40 and that's what it's worth. That is what it's worth. But then they're marking it up so much and making people pay so much for a luxury item when they don't really need to. So it's all branding, it's all scamming, and and that's what he calls it. I really enjoy listening to this one guy because he understands what's going on. So that's very different than. So anyway, so what I'm paying for, let's just say I bought this on Temu, right? So I bought that on Temu for like $1.70 or whatever. Okay. So obviously somebody from China had made that, and it probably cost, if they sold it for $1.70, it probably literally cost them 50 cents. Okay. Now I'm not talking about labor, and yes, I would have to look into that, and how much is it true what they're telling us about, like I saw some woman in China walk around her factory showing all the different stations and all these people working, and it looked like a lovely environment. Is that totally true? I don't know. That's why I'm coming back to my full point is we're in this for the long haul. Okay. So then we have Lee, who has her hands were on this. That is why I value it so more. That's why I'm willing to pay $33 or whatever Lee is selling this for, because I know she made this with her own hands, and I value that. I value artwork. I just do. So, okay. So that is a very different mindset, right? Than going on Temu. And I'm wondering, I don't know for sure. Okay, I'm just throwing this stuff out there. I don't know for sure that, you know, are the prices on Temu the prices on Temu because that's what it costs. And then, but if I were to go to Walmart and buy this, it would be $6. It's because they marked it up so much. So why would this be better if I bought this at Walmart than if I bought this on Temu for $1.70? You know, because so they made it for 50 cents. Let's just say whoever made this got a fair wage. Let's just say they did for where they live, you know. Then why should I go to Walmart? Because Walmart has this branding of being the cheapest or whatever, or least expensive, but that's not actually true. It's not actually true. So I don't know. This is all the stuff that's starting to come out, right? These are all the things that are starting to come out. So this brings me back to my original topic of that we're in this for the long haul. And I think it's a good thing. I really do think it's a good thing that we're in this for the long haul. But I just wanted to prepare myself this morning, which is why after I realized that, I just kind of sat here for a minute and just sat here and thought on it. Because we need to be. I think we need to be in order for us to get to the golden future, which I don't have my, oh yeah. In order for us to get to the golden future, all of us, not just a few of us who are, you know, doing our spiritual work, but don't we want this for all of humanity? You know, don't we want those who have learned to live with corruption to not have to learn to live with corruption because that's the only way they think they can survive? Don't we want that? I mean, for humanity, if we thought of ourselves as spiritual beings who are only of love, don't we want that for humanity, right? So I think that's why we're in it for the long haul, because if we're going to get here, I don't want to just be here by myself. I want all of us to be there, all spiritual beings to get here, to grow, to change, to get different perspectives, okay? So the other video I watched this morning was from the Lincoln Project. And they were basically, he was just educating me, whoever watched the video, on how Florida is actually the most corrupt state there is and how it's been corrupt since like the early 1990s. And these are all these kind of things, and you know, and who lives in Florida, right? And actually the whole thing was on Pam Bondi, who is our Attorney General, and she's a part of that whole corruption. It's just this whole corruption thing going on. And now she's our Attorney General of the United States, which she has set herself up to be, according to the Lincoln Project, this gentleman I was listening to. I'll post that video below too. Okay. Very helpful. She is setting her, I mean, they've set it up so that she is the president's attorney. Not that role is supposed to be the attorney for the people. That's what the role is supposed to be, but she's not playing that role. So it's how whatever messaging, like she goes on Fox News like 2 or 3 times a day, and she talks about stuff that's not even, I mean, she's talking about the trans in sports. Do you guys know that there are 10 trans in sports, in collegiate sports, transgender, so they're swimming for the opposite of what they were born as. 10 in collegiate sports, and that's what they focus on. That's what they're focused on so much, because they know that if they keep freaking people out about it, they've made such a big deal about it that people just believe everything they say. She literally continues to talk about that on Fox News. That's what our Attorney General is focused on right now. Is focused on that and immigration. Now, I understand, you know, that we have had a problem with immigration. I don't know why. I was asking my husband last night, why did Biden let in so freely. I guess like 250,000, he said 250,000 people in 1 month would come in here. And then we've had these sanctuary cities, and my sister was telling me she was in Denver once and it was awful because people were in tents, and so they're called sanctuary cities. I had no idea. Where I live is not a sanctuary city, you know. So the question is, why was that happening? I'm sure there's reasons, but why was that happening? Okay, so I get the idea that they're really angry. People who live in those areas are in Chicago too, are really angry about that situation. Okay. But now F-45 and that the regime is using that to their advantage, which in one respect, it's great that they want to help resolve it. Perfect. Go for it. Help resolve the issue, but do it legally. So that's the problem. They're not doing it legally. So, and okay, so we got all this, right? We're starting to hear more and more about corruption. We're starting to hear about how much stuff costs that shouldn't cost us that much, right? Because everything is branding. And the gentleman I listened to, again, I'll post it down below, about branding, that's all a scam too. It's all a scam. So like and then he goes on to say, if somebody said, if a manufacturer in China, which is what they're doing apparently on TikTok, a manufacturer is coming out and saying, I'll sell you these directly if you want to start a business and put your label on it. Okay. He's saying American, like other people will take them up on it, but Americans are going to be like, oh, I just want it for cheaper. Thanks. I don't need to, do my own thing, because we're generally pretty complacent. We are used to the structure of working for somebody else, being told what to do, not taking responsibility for earning my own income. And I think that, and it's interesting now that I'm thinking about what the message from the SGs is, we'll have to dive into that for a second, because now I'm giggling. Because now that I just said that, it's kind of related. It's kind of funny. So when I say we're in this for the long haul, I think that's why, coming back to the self journey, the spiritual journey, the self-improvement, the not making assumptions about things, learning how to do that, which the 30-day challenge, we're going to be doing 30-day challenges here in this community every month. I can see it right now, because I think it'll be a fun way to do it together. It's going to be very simple in the beginning until I get creative and see how the community responds to it and stuff. And then we'll do different things. I might give away prizes at some point. I just don't have any of that kind of structure set up. So I'm going to always start simple, which is really a good advice for anyone who's starting something. Always start simple and then build on it, right? You got to. I can't see what the end result's going to look like until I get started, right? So I'm super excited about that, because I think the 30-day challenges are going to really help us get to these changes that we need to make in ourselves, because we have been brainwashed, especially Americans, especially people in the West, Europe, Canada. Okay. We have been brainwashed our whole lives to just accept the status quo, accept the structure that we live under, because the people in the structure wanted us to do that, and they still do. Okay. Look inside ourselves, clear our triggers, clear our shadows. We have to do those things before we can see where we're going. Okay. So when I say we're in this for the long haul, I think we are. Again, because in order for us to get to that golden future, the structures cannot be the way they are, even under the libs. They cannot be this way. They can't be this way. It's ridiculous. Now I'm starting to see it. That's why I think we're in this for the long haul. So, a few things. Get your shit shield, however your shit shield needs to be activated, up here. The mug ain't going to protect you. It's up here, right? Focus on working on yourself. look to information. We need to educate ourselves. So we are not ignoring things. There's a part of me that just wants to be like, I'm just going to journal and work on myself and I'm going to ignore everything that's going on in society because it's effing crazy, right? But I don't think if we're going to be a part of the change that we can do that. So you need to find a resource like Ground News. If you have other ones, please list them below so people can explore, because that's the one I know of now, but there may be, I know people list YouTube channels like Midas Touch and David Pakman and whatever works for you, okay? That doesn't make you. The one thing I do, and I'm not trying to push you on Ground News at all, but it's what I use. So I'm going to talk about just like everything else, just like I use Lee's mug, so I talk about it. But what I like about it is it doesn't get me all riled up. Where when I listen to people talk about the news on YouTube, it gets me riled up. It just does, because they have their emotions behind it. They have their spin on things, and that's okay. They need to do that because that's how they get in front of you. But I do get anxious when I listen to them. When I go to Ground News, I don't. Okay. So that is why it's very helpful for me. So we have to pay attention to what's going on. We have to look within ourselves. This is why we have to focus on how we're spending our time right now. Because if we are not spending our time on structural changes within ourselves or structural changes within humanity for the whole world, then we probably aren't spending our time the way that we need to be spending our time. Which, again, here's the message. Here's the message from the SGs. This is cracking me up now. So I didn't plan to talk about this because of their message, but so their message using the pendulum. Okay, so using a pendulum like this for people who are new, and a what do you call this? Pendulum chart or map. Okay, that has the letters on it so they can spell things out for me. So they said, why are you living this way? Why are you living this way? Okay. So that we're all going to interpret this very differently. Why are you living this way? Okay. But it's really interesting based on what I was inspired to talk about today. All right. So that is actually would be a great 30-day challenge, is for us to sit and journal on why are you living this way? Because you can look at all the different pieces of your life. Why are you living this way? Why are you living this way? Why are you living that way? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Are you doing that because everyone's told you that's the way you should do it? Or are you doing it because you authentically want to? Okay. Just whatever. I mean, we could spend, again, that might be a really good 30-day challenge. So then I said, well, what do you mean? Like, why are you telling me? Like, why is that a message today for the community? When I ask for a community from all of our spirit guides. Okay. So that this message is not just from my spirit guides. This is from all of ours. Okay. They said, you are not trapped. You are not trapped. Okay. So I think all of us, you might say, oh, I don't feel trapped. All of us are trapped in some way or another. Okay. We're either trapped by fear of messaging that we're getting. We're trapped. I mean, we're trapped. We're just trapped in different ways. Okay. So this would be a really good, I'm going to hang on to this. Eventually, I can see myself doing a poll on the channel. So if you are going to get the newsletter, sign up right there. Link is in the description too. If you're going to get the newsletter, I'll let you know when I send out polls. So you'll get a link to the poll so you can participate in giving your opinion about what you want to see us talk about or what you want to see the 30-day challenges be about. Because all of a sudden I can see myself doing a poll on what 30-day challenges you guys want to do, and then we'll do them, whichever ones have the most interest. Okay. But I'll send those out. We don't get a lot. We might get like 200 responses out of 50,000 people because people don't see the polls that I put out. I put them out, or I put questions out all the time for What do you want me to ask the SGs? Like I just put one out yesterday on Pope Francis. What do you want to ask Pope Francis about? I put one out on what do you want to ask God about? We're going to write to God this time with the dowsing rods. So I put that a post. I put a post on what do you want to know about the Bermuda Triangle? I think that one's interesting. And what was the other one? I put another one out. I can't remember. But I'm going to put those in the newsletter so that you guys can get a direct link to that. And then you don't have to worry that you're missing a poll, you know? So I'm kind of excited about that, which is why I want to do the once a week so that I can communicate enough things, of what's going on in the community. So this will be one of them that I will add to like a poll for 30-day challenges. Okay. If you're wondering, we are starting the very first 30-day challenge on May 1st. And I'm going to be announcing it in the newsletter. Okay. So, and it's going to be very simple, this first one, but it's going to get us started looking at ourselves and all this kind of stuff. The last thing I wanted to say, okay, so are you getting the idea that we're in this for the long haul? And I think that's a mindset we have to adopt. That's why I want to talk about this. I think we have to adopt the mindset because frankly, even the whole structure, I've been kind of saying this every once in a while. The more I learn about things, the whole structure needs to be dismantled, you guys. There's just way too much corruption. There's way too much corruption. And for whatever reason, people have learned to live with the corruption and and I didn't know, I've been oblivious to it. Because I'm not living that way. But the reason there's a lot of corruption is because, well, there's probably a lot of reasons, but, you know, people could be morally corrupt, you know, whatever. But it's like, why is there? I think we have to ask the question is, why is there so much corruption? Like, why do people need to live that way, you know? But we have to start with ourselves, right? So I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think we're in this for the long haul? Because frankly, I'm not interested in having a Biden back in the office. If this is what life has been like, if now things are coming to light, we know there's a very good chance we're being brainwashed by brands. We're paying way more than we ever should and need to. The fact that the minimum wage is $7.25, I mean, give me a break. You know, there's just so many things that are coming out and that are part of my awareness now. I mean, the list could go on and on and on. That has to do with both parties. That's not just, and I know one is better than the other. I mean, I get that, trust me. Like there are values, but they are doing some stuff. The whole structure needs to be looked at and reconstructed. If we're not going to get to the golden future unless we do that, you know? So the last thing I wanted to say was I did listen to another thing. God, it seemed like I listened to a lot, but it was like 10 minutes of each one, you know, about how much words matter. And there was a woman, I'll list that video down below too. It's really, really good. She's basically an expert on how words, you know, and she's working with the Democratic Party to use words that actually mean truth, like telling the truth. So that's why I said regime, because we should not be calling this an administration. This is not an administration. I mean, she was very clear about that. She's like, this is a fascist regime. That's what it is. So we don't want to use the word administration because it messages down what's actually really happening. She did say regime of the bullies for the billionaires. Regime of the bullies for the billionaires was one thing she said. I thought that was interesting. She said it's a fascist power grab. Oh, the people who are being kidnapped, basically, the abductions, the disappearances. She said, use that language. This is not a deportation. These are not deportation issues. These are, you know, yes, the thing is, okay, Biden did let them in, but they're in. So now they're in. But just because one party let them in doesn't mean the next party gets to send them to concentration camps, which is exactly what they're doing. And that's what this woman said, is use the language of what they're actually doing. So that's the thing, is we need to take responsibility as a society. I don't care which party did it. It doesn't matter. But you don't get to just send them to, we let them in. If we let them in, Again, I don't care which party let them in. If it was the reverse and the Republicans let them in, I would not be supporting the Democrats doing what they're doing, sending them to concentration camps. That's the issue. You know, we've got to stop thinking in terms of this party did this and this party. No, 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 no. We are a society and this is what we expect, you know? So how we get there, I have no freaking idea, but I'm going to start with myself and stop. I got to start with my own assumptions and education. That's why I don't think we can run away from the news. We just have to find the news that is actually true and doesn't trigger us every single day. We have to educate ourselves. If we don't educate ourselves, then we're not going to move forward. You know, we're just going to stay in a, you know, and I love the idea that people want to do the love and the light and just stay in the love and the light. For me, I don't think it's enough. If we want to help humanity on Earth, then we have to keep educating ourselves, but do it in a way that we can stay in the love and the light, that we don't have to activate our shit shields constantly, you know? And then she just said, you know, so she was calling it a kidnapping, abductions, disappearances, a fascist power grab. That's everything they're doing is a fascist power grab. So using the language of what it is. So when we're talking about these things, this is what we're talking about. And then the budget, when she talked about the budget, this isn't a budget, like a normal budget that they're trying to pass. She called it a MAGA unaliving budget, MURDER, a MAGA unaliving budget, because people will be unalived by that budget. So I liked the idea that she's getting clear and helping us get clear on what the language is. Okay. Now, again, there's a lot of this isn't black and white. Everything I have said today, there's nothing black and white about this. So there are going to be a million opinions about everything I've said today. And I'm not saying it is black and white. So I know there's a lot of gray, and I have a lot of educating myself. I have a lot to do to educate myself. I know that. I think we all do. So the person who left that comment about Temu, you know, and why are you supporting a communist country? And then they said, come on. There's gray here. There's gray here. And I don't personally make comments like that unless I know the entire story. I mean, literally the entire story, meaning I've been over there and I see what's going on. Maybe living in a communist country, if that's what we're going to label it, because we label things and then that has connotation, maybe they're living a hell of a lot better than we are. Have you ever thought of that? Have you been there? Has anyone been there? I don't know. I mean, people have. Some people have probably been there. I'm just saying, there is a lot of gray. So we're going to work on that within ourselves too. Is all the assumptions we make because of we hear one thing and it was sold to us well through branding, or we trusted a source. Maybe you trusted me, so you're trusting the source. But I'm telling you, there's gray, so much gray. We have to stop thinking we know the answers to things, that things are black and white, I think that's part of our problem too. Okay, let's do let's see what they have to say here. So this is Archangel Michael, Sword of Light Oracle. Sword of Light. This came from somebody in the community. Did it? I believe it did. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so when if you're new here, I have a stack of my Oracle cards, all listed on these little cards. I got this at a thrift shop. These are actually tarot cards, but I wasn't using it, so I thought, I'll just put little pieces of white paper on them and write all my decks down, and then I shuffle that, and this is what popped out. The Sword of Light Oracle, and then I use my dowsing rods and I just make sure that's what they want. Okay, so I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, and all of those of the purest and highest light. And I ask Archangel Michael to please protect this channel and this community so it is also of the purest and highest light. Amen. Okay, so what do you guys want us to know today? Can we once again look, I call upon all of our spirit teams for the whole community, and especially people who are watching this now and in the future. And what messages what do you want to tell us today? Besides, why are you living this way? You are not trapped. Do you have anything extra to say about that? Or what do you want us to walk away with today? Let's see. Let's see if any are gonna pop out of here. Whoops. So there's a little bit of a pop out. See that? Just for people wondering how I do this. So I'm gonna grab those 4 that just kind of popped out. I'm not gonna look at them. I'm just gonna put them in front of me. And I'm just gonna shuffle a few seconds more, see if any actually do pop out. Oh, like that one. Okay, so this one just fell out, okay? So I'm gonna put this one over to the side. Now I'm going to ask my dowsing rods, more specifically, and I eventually will get to getting, I do have a video, you guys, on how to, because oftentimes people will get the dowsing rods and they're like, I don't know how, it's not working for me. I do have a video, I will post it right here at the end of this, on how to, it's just something I've explored on a video to, what you might need to do to get these working. Okay. Help the energy with your spirit guides. Actually, it's really just an energetic thing. Your spirit guides, you just basically, I think you just basically, it's not, but it's a vibrational thing. They have to be able to move these. So your vibration has to be a little bit higher. They have to bring theirs down a little bit lower. And so it's just a matter of that, I think. I'm not an expert on it. It's just kind of my experience. So, okay. So you guys, did I grab the right cards, or the right ones pop out? Yes. Is there more than one that you want me to read? No. Is it the one that popped out on the right that you want me to read? Yes. Okay. So none. Are there any in that other little pile I pulled? No. Okay. All right. So just one today. Okay. Fun. These are cool. Look at the backside of these cards. Isn't that cool? This is an Archangel Michael deck. Okay. Because it says the Archangel Michael Sword of Light Oracle by Radley Valentine, he's got quite a bit of experience. So, okay. So let's see. Oh, yep. Be honest with yourself. It's a 5 card. We had a 5 card yesterday too. I have to look up 5. If anyone knows what the angel card, angel meaning of 5 is, I can Google it, but it will help others reading the comments. Be honest with yourself. And remember, what was this message? Why are you living this way? You are not trapped. Be honest with yourself. All your feelings, even the difficult ones, have a message for you. Accept your truth, then let Source take it from there. And remember, I'm always going to push this in this community. I have one moral value in this community, not moral value, but one expectation is your truth is different than other people's truths. Let everybody find their truth here. Okay. We're all in different places and we've all had millions of different life experiences that we all have a different truth. Okay. So that's why we're supporting each other's journey and not judging it. Accept your truth, then let Source take it from there. Love it. For those who want a little bit more info, I'm going to read it to you from the little booklet. So 5. This was a good one today. This was inspiring for me today. So sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that was really helpful for me, what I talked about. That was really helpful for me. So, okay. Let's see, how long is this? All right. There are times when facing your true thoughts and emotions can be extremely difficult or even troubling. Hence the shadow work we've been doing this month in the Spirit Circle. Yet it's important to recognize that you have these feelings for a reason. They are meant to guide you. Being honest with yourself means looking with a clear eye at the stories you've been telling yourself and others. along with all your thoughts, emotions, and motivations. When you have this clarity, you can let go of your worries and have faith in the process, knowing that Source is in control. Knowing your truth doesn't mean that you will need to reveal all your thoughts and secrets to others right away. You don't have to do what I do. I mean, if you're in the spirit circle, I literally read out my responses to the exercises. Like, I'm telling you everything, like all my shadows. You don't have to do that. Some situations do call for sharing. However, it can sometimes be hard to tell what your current circumstances are dictating. Let me help. If you have feelings you wish to keep secret, ask yourself why that is. I can guide you to find clarity. This is Archangel Michael who's talking to you right now, okay? I can guide you to find clarity by using my sword of light to sever your connections to negative stories, fears, and the past so that you can reach out and embrace the truth. So Archangel Michael right here is telling us, ask him to use his sword of light to sever the connection that you have to negative stories. I love that. It's such an easy thing to do, and that it really has a huge impact. I can also send you signs and little pings of emotion so that you know what's real and what's not. Ask for that, especially as we're in for the long haul of what's real and what's not in society. You'll be able to make a statement to yourself and feel if it is true or not. I will need to ask for this assistance. This assistance specifically so that my actions can remain in line with your free will. Okay, let me read that again. You'll be able to make a statement to yourself and feel if it is true or not. So the little pings that he sends you, okay? He, meaning Archangel Michael, will need you to ask for this assistance specifically, okay? So that his actions can remain in line with your free will. So that's why we always have to ask. In the golden future, and I am going to start talking about these more and more. In the golden future, there's 33 spiritual laws. I talk about the law of challenge many times, okay? But the first one is the law of asking, I think, or something like that. You have to ask because they will not get in the way of your free will, okay? So once you know your full personal truth, you can decide whether it's best to share it with others or wait for divine timing. I will support whatever choice you make. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Look at how, and that's Archangel Michael's on the shoulder. Isn't that sweet? That's really sweet. All right. Well, hopefully you got something out of this today, and hopefully you subscribed and hit the like button. It'd be amazing. And maybe I'll see you in the next video. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.